Our regiment could leave at any time.
I got these in 7th grade and I love them. Stop asking questions.
Just FYI.
Guys, stop working!
Don't listen to her. Keep working.
I don't want to be an old man looking back at a meager life of selling red potatoes for the man. Skimboards, a boxing glove.
Oh, dude, who's that? Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's Miss Wilson. Yeah, she's new. She teaches AP English. She's your teacher? Yeah. Oh, she is too hot to be a teacher. She's all right. She assigned us so much fucking homework, like first day. So, I don't know, jury's still out.
Can you hook us up with like some milkshakes and shit?
Let's get the choppers, ping this site as an LKP, and then 15 miles POA. You're not APF anymore. I'm sure you got some caribou to scrape off the road somewhere.
Most of the funding to Salal comes from an NGO.
I'm not letting a still drunk DUI out just because sometimes she blows you.
Pretty tapped out. I got a grocery shop.
Seal. Caribou.
APF, open up, please. APF, open up now!
Trooper Davis is going to inspect the mining dredges.
Let's get the units out there looking for them. Motels, hostels, flop houses, dealers.
Some fishermen spotted something near the dredge.
I kept hacking until I got through.
Just X, the letter X. And then the AE is like pronounced Ash. Yeah. And then A12 is my contribution.
Oh, why A12?
Archangel 12, the precursor to the SR-71. Coolest plane ever.
It was January the 3rd, 1995.
Hard and cold, state CID.
Of course I'm going to ask her if she contributed to her IRA this month.
LV.
Sometimes I don't talk for days on end. I think I left my riding crop in the mortuary.
The serial killers go. I'm verging on nice.
I'm only pulling your leg, I knew that.
The sumptuousness of the stone.
And your ancient, decrepit, embarrassing old dad.
Well, I'm elderly, I'm not decrepit.
I cannot help associating your lack of firmness with the decline of your family.
Being a decrepit old bag of bones, that's what's ridiculous.
Has your mind become as decrepit as your face imbues her?
I am so chuffed about picking up this little gem.
Was only the remains of his heart in the box.
Oh, minging.
Is that because it was consecrated?
We had a lengthy conversation about hosiery and menopause.
At first, I wondered aloud, why would a competitive vocal group not reach out to a trained chanteuse?
The workbench, a miter saw, 2 bar clamps, and some dowels.
Do you know how to use a miter saw?
And I'm afraid that your father will never forgive me for holding forth to you about astronomy.
I don't just mean holding forth for cameras and reporters.
After a few shots of the especially vile whiskey brewed by Blackjack himself, Neil began to hold forth.
Well, he held forth on the heroics of Ethan Allen.
Every so often, I am in the midst of holding forth, explaining why I would never, ever consider doing this or that.
So I was left alone for about a quarter of an hour. It was then that I overheard Furbright, you know, the famous painter, who was obviously full of drink, although you couldn't exactly call him drunk, and was holding forth to a little group at the other side of the fireplace.
It's just to be there. Fortunately, somebody had the blessed good sense to switch on a tape recorder, and so this priceless hour or so of Douglas just holding forth impromptu is preserved.
And they're all holding forth, commenting on this as if they were learned scholars, but you looked at their patched clothes, their bare feet. These are very humble people.
And the second irony was I was holding forth that we would be lucky to reach June the 1st before the bubble broke.
Right.
And we were not allowed to sell until approximately June the 1st because we were locked up.
In place, and now suddenly you're holding forth over a beer about what ought to be done about, Kosovo or Uganda or...
Built, and he's holding forth, and all of a sudden, he breaks off in mid-sentence, and he takes both hands off the steering wheel, and he turns to me. He's driving.
He sizes his meeting mates up pretty quickly, and he's the kind of guy who really is capable of holding forth for 40, 45 minutes in great data-laden detail without notes.
He said, well, I'm the Reverend Billy Graham, and I'm holding forth over there at the stadium tonight, and I tell you what, if you come over, I'll
Herod's Palace, where Pilate is holding forth. It's one of these two sites where this unfolds here. Herod's Palace, where Pilate is holding forth. It's one of these two sites where this unfolds here. And he's awaiting his execution. Because of sedition, it'll be crucifixion, okay? Rome cannot tolerate sedition.
And I can just imagine him going along to the local and with one foot up on the bar, holding forth of his experiences when he was in India to all the other admiring bears.
I remember my grandfather sitting in the living room, holding forth, as he was wont to do, in Newton, Massachusetts.
She held forth all afternoon about on government incompetence. She held forth all afternoon about on government incompetence. She held forth all afternoon about on government incompetence. She held forth all afternoon about on government incompetence.
Reporters there, and we were invited in to talk to him. And, he's holding forth on some economic platform. And I look down, and his fingernails are bitten way below the quick.
She held forth all through lunch on a variety of subjects. She held forth all through lunch on a variety of subjects.
She held forth all afternoon about on government incompetence. She held forth all afternoon about on government incompetence.
She held forth all afternoon about on government incompetence. She held forth all afternoon about on government incompetence.
He was a splendid writer and held forth on a lot of different topics.
He held forth for 3 hours in one of his classic philippics.
Well, if we're just gonna gloss over what I just said about the fucking huge bulbous shafts and no means yes in their land, I don't know, man.
Are we just gonna gloss over the fact that we just watched a prison fight?
The book's kind of glossed over that part.
I cannot believe you're making me feel bad about the sins of my unpublished manuscript, and you're glossing over your actual lies and manipulation.
There's no glossing over the suicide of their father.
As usual, she's glossing over everything.
Glossing over. Sugarcoating. Prettifying.
I feel like we glossed over some details.
We gloss over that part?
They were glossing over all of that. Gonna gloss over that memorized exhibition part.